Hello and welcome to 30 Days of Hoya. Today we will take a look at Hoya globulosa. This is a very small plant. This Hoya is fairly tiny and it's a recent addition to my collection. I received this as a cutting in February of this year. Initially, I think this was a 2-note cutting, but during the shipping the bottom started to rot and it went a bit downhill from that. It ended up being just a 1-note cutting, and we will get to that. It's one of those school growing Hoyas. It grows in temperatures from 10 to 25 degrees of Celsius or from 60 to 80 degrees of Fahrenheit. I don't know if your home is a bit hotter how it will influence this Hoya. Currently I have it at 26 degrees of Celsius and 67% of humidity, and it doesn't seem to be doing all that bad. I think it will stand those higher temperatures. Now we will see more when we get into the summer if anything will happen, if the leaves will start to yellow or if the growth will slow down. As I mentioned, I received this as a cutting in February of this year. Even though the shipping was very short, it only took 4 days to arrive to me and I had to import it. The base of the cutting started to rot. It was wrapped in very moist cotton and that was enough for this Hoya to start to rot. I did cut off the bottom part where I saw the rot, and it seemed at first as if I stopped it because I cut into the green part and there was the white sap coming out of it, so it looked healthy. But unfortunately the rot continued, so I kept cutting it and it ended up as this 1-note cutting. So these are the 2 original leaves and this is 1 leaf that grew since February. And if we'll take a look a bit better here, I don't want to pull it out, but just about here is where the cutting ends. So the cut is very close to the node. I was surprised I was able to root this, and now it's very well rooted. And as you can see, it stays in leca. I grow this Hoya under my LED lights. It's about 40 centimeters away from the light, and so far this cutting is doing well. This new leaf is looking good. On the older leaves, this veining is not so prominent, but on the newer leaf you can clearly see that veining on the leaf. And the leaf is not completely flat. If I shift it around and light a bit, you will see that the surface of leaf is not completely flat. And the leaf itself is not pubescent. It does have some hairs on the leaves, but nothing like Hoya finlaysoni or any other Hoya with pubescent leaves. It's a very waxy leaf. The reason why I grow it in leca, I find that plants that I just barely rescued, they seem to do much better if I move them to leca. I don't know if it will stay in leca forever. There are some issues with leca, but I think that's a topic for a different video. But right now it seems to be doing okay. I think the root system is very well developed. I think when this plant grows 3 or 4 more nodes, I will take a cutting and then root that and pot it in my regular Hoya mix. Just to have 2 plants, it will be interesting to see which one will do better. And one of those will work as a backup plant, I think. The reservoir does stay with water, so make sure there is water in it. Obviously now I cannot have water because I would have water everywhere, and we are trying to avoid mess if possible. The water stays in the reservoir and then it's wicked through leca, and then that's how the cutting gets the water, how roots get the water. Because it's growing in semi-hydro, I make sure to always water it with rainwater. I try to water all of my Hoyas like that with rainwater, but the difference with this one in semi-hydroponics is that the fertilizer is diluted much more. It's not even half of the recommended dosage. I would say it's 1/5 or even less than that. So it's a very weak solution of the fertilizer. I didn't find the exact amount that I should use, so maybe if you have some experience with semi-hydroponics, you can leave that in the comment below. But the weaker the better. It will still need fertilizer, but you mustn't overdo it in semi-hydroponics because you will have mineral deposits similar to this. The leaves will get larger, they will get longer. I think the width is about this. So 3 or 4 centimeters in width and then maybe 15 centimeters in length. That would be the maximum for this Hoya. The only challenge really that I had is with when it arrived that it was rotten, and you can see it has that green stem, and I think Hoyas with a greener stem similar to this one are more prone to rot, it seems to me. This Hoya is something that you will have to get at collectors. You will not find it in a garden center, definitely. Specialized Hoya nursery, orchid nursery may have it. Another thing that I didn't mention is that oftentimes you will find this Hoya under the name of hoyavillosa. I have looked through Christina Carlson's website and I got the impression that hoyavillosa and hoyaglobulosa are the same plants. I see them sold separately in some of the nurseries, and I'm not quite sure why. Now, what I read about this Hoya is that it's a bit problematic. One of the problems is that it will push out a vine, and it doesn't like to be attached to a trellis or something like that. It will stop growing or it will start yellowing. So that's a bit of a challenge. My vine is not so long, so I cannot confirm if this is true or not. But I will definitely let you know, and if you have some experience, make sure to also leave it in the comments below. The other one is that it's a bit difficult to get this Hoya to bloom. It's not impossible. I know that some people have done it, but it's a bit of a challenge. So this Hoya is mostly grown for the very nice foliage. And I don't think the cameras do it justice to see how beautiful the foliage is on this Hoya. Thank you for watching. This was Hoya globulosa, and I will see you in our next 30 Days of Hoya.